Following some breaking news, a possible retrial on the horizon for a convicted killer, Scott Peterson. The city attorney is stepping in to shut down an Airbnb rental in La Jolla, and SDSU students being told to stay indoors for the next week and a half. The school's working to get ahead of possible Halloween parties. ABC 10 News at 11 starts now.
ABC 10 News at 11 starts now.
And welcome this midday. Great to have you with us. I'm Jim Patton, joined remotely by my co-anchor Virginia Cha and Vanessa Paz with the weather today. We'll be with both of you very shortly. Well, we start with breaking news. A new trial could be on the horizon for one of the state's most notorious convicted killers. Prosecutors today saying that they plan to retry the sentencing phase for San Diego native Scott Peterson. Peterson's pregnant wife, Lacey, was found dead in the Bay Area in 2003 and was arrested for her murder days later in La Jolla. In August, Peterson's death sentence was overturned after a court decided that jurors in the original trial were improperly dismissed. Well, that decision changed Peterson's punishment to life in prison, although it's been nearly 15 years since a California inmate was executed. An Airbnb party house busted by the city attorney after a rash of parties, gunshots, and an investigation that shows that the La Jolla Farms mansion is derelict. ABC 10 News reporter Cassie Carlisle spoke with Mara Elliott on what will happen next.
Even in front of the mansion, you can see that something looks a little different. 6 garbage cans and 2 recycling bins right out front. Online, this La Jolla Farms multi-million-dollar mansion looks pristine with sweeping ocean views, an ideal getaway with a $900 a night price tag. But City Attorney Mara Elliott paints a different picture.
And it's not just the parties. There's boarded up windows. There are exposed electrical wiring issues. There are vector concerns for the county.
In the civil enforcement action filed Friday morning, it goes on describing fire hazards, a decaying koi pond, and a pile of trash, including mattresses and broken furniture. Neighbors say the constant parties and even violence that erupted are a nuisance. In May of last year, a fight at a party burst into gunshots. Thankfully, no one was hurt. The listing clearly states no parties or events. Elliott called the parties super spreader events and filed the civil enforcement action to force the owners to clean up the property. She said this is the first step in filing a lawsuit.
In my mind, this is a public health emergency, so we will ask the court to expedite this and help get the community relief as quickly as we can.
Police have been called to the mansion at least 30 times. According to Elliott, about a dozen of those calls have been during the pandemic. Reporting in La Jolla, Cassie Carlisle, ABC 10 News.
If you have a neighbor that's hosting parties, Elliott said to call the police or code enforcement to stop the spread of coronavirus. Virginia?
Thank you, Jim. San Diego State is trying to prevent another outbreak of COVID-19 there ahead of Halloween. So starting tonight, students will be under a stay-at-home advisory. It starts at 6 tonight, lasts through Monday, November 2nd at 6 in the morning. University officials are urging students to only go out for essentials such as groceries. Students violating the advisory could face consequences ranging from a warning to expulsion. Students we spoke to on campus say they will be staying in their bubbles, but don't think all students will do that.
Divided between a lot of students. A lot of students like me who would rather stay inside. There's a lot of students who need that social interaction, and they kind of go outside and go talk to people and all that stuff.
The university says cases connected to campus have been stable. In fact, this graph on SDSU's website indicates the school has not had a case on campus since September 24th. The university will be hosting virtual Halloween events, meanwhile, for the students. Less than 2 weeks before Election Day, the 2 presidential candidates took to the stage for the final debate. This one a little more subdued than the last one after some rule changes. ABC's Elizabeth Schulze has more on the debate and the final stretch of the campaign season.
The race for the White House now in its final stretch. The decision to mute candidates during their initial answers to questions clearly leading to a more restrained debate, allowing them to showcase their opposing visions for the country. President Trump and Joe Biden clashing on the pandemic.
We have no choice. We can't lock ourselves up in a basement like Joe does.
He says that we're learning to live with it. People are learning to die with it.
With nearly 50 million votes already cast based on a tally by the United States Election Project, more than all the early votes cast in 2016, and only a small sliver of voters still undecided, The candidates now laser focused on key issues in the swing states that will determine the election's outcome. President Trump trying to portray former vice president as a radical choice on health care.
When he says public option, he's talking about socialized medicine. Bernie Sanders wants it. The Democrats want it. You're going to have socialized medicine.
Biden prepared for the attacks.
He's a very confused guy. He thinks he's running against somebody else. He's running against Joe Biden. I beat all those other people because I disagreed with them.
The candidates arguing over race.
I am the least racist person in this room.
He pours fuel on every single racist fire. This guy has a dog whistle about as big as a foghorn.
And Trump pouncing on Biden for his comments on the oil industry and fracking, a critical issue in battleground Pennsylvania.
I would transition from the oil industry, yes.
Oh,
I will
that's
transition.
a big statement.
It is a big statement.
That's a
because
big statement.
I would stop.
Why would you do that?
Because the oil industry pollutes significantly.
Biden later backtracking.
We're not going to get rid of fossil fuels. We're going to get rid of the subsidies for fossil fuels.
With just 11 days to go until final votes are cast, Vice President Mike Pence joining the millions of Americans who have voted early, casting his ballot in Indiana today. President Trump set to vote early tomorrow in Florida.
President Trump is traveling to Florida today, where he will hold 2 rallies. Joe Biden is set to speak this afternoon in Delaware. Elizabeth Schulze, ABC News, Washington.
Well, just 2 days after reopening, at least one student in the Vista Unified School District has tested positive for COVID-19. In a statement, district officials said the case was confirmed on Tuesday, the same day classes returned. The student attended 4 classes that day. Roughly 130 students and some staff members were sent home to quarantine for a 14-day period. Last week, teachers held a rally arguing the district's reopening plan was too risky.
If we can't keep them safe, that it's misguided, it's haphazard, and it's dangerous. And no other district in San Diego County is doing this type of a reckless opening.
Now, the district has not provided an update on the student's condition and didn't specify if they had any symptoms. Attempts to reach the superintendent for comment were also not successful. For the first time in 43 years, college football fans will not be able to watch the Holiday Bowl, the game not being played this year because of the pandemic. This is video from last year's face-off between USC and Iowa. Difficult decision was made by a unanimous vote of the Bowl's board of directors, and the CEO of the Holiday Bowl says it generally brings in $31 million to the area each year.
A lot of people just think we're a football game, and it's so much more than that. I mean, we're a community asset. I was truly hoping we could be a bright spot this year.
Now, the events preceding the Holiday Bowl also have been canceled. That includes the beloved Port of San Diego Holiday Bowl Parade. The board of directors say that the bowl game will come back bigger and better next year. Virginia?
Thank you, Jim. Well, this morning, firefighters jumped on a small brush fire in City Heights, sparked in a canyon near Columbia and Olive just before 5 this morning. Crews were able to knock it down in a matter of minutes, and no buildings were ever in danger. The cause, of course, is under investigation. Well, even though Halloween isn't until next week, the Padres are helping families get in the spirit now while following COVID-19 health guidelines. ABC 10 News reporter Marie Cornell shows us how.
By night, ghosts, skeletons, and jack-o'-lanterns take over Gallagher Square at Petco Park. And if you look closely, you'll even catch a glimpse of your favorite Friars. This is part of the Halloween trail that the Padres have put together to keep the Halloween spirit alive while keeping people safe by following the COVID-19 guidelines. Last week, the state discouraged traditional ways of celebrating Halloween, like trick-or-treating or having parties. Instead, this year, they want people to find things to do with those in their household, whether it's making a haunted house in their homes or finding events like this, where the health guidelines will be implemented. Before you get into the park, you'll get your temperature taken. And when you buy your tickets online, you'll have to reserve an appointment time. They're making sure families are evenly spaced out while on the trail, allowing them to enjoy the festivities safely.
We're making sure that no household is interacting with another household. On top of that, masks are required in addition to any costume masks, so you must have a face covering.
There will be candy and treats for the kids that will be contactless. After their Halloween journey walking through this trail, families can enjoy their treats by sitting down in these individual circles that allows them to social distance. Tickets are $25 for kids and $20 for adults. This trail will run through November 1st. Reporting from Petco Park, Marie Cornell, ABC 10 News.